What's up everybody, this is G The Hypersapien, and in this video we're going to take a look at Orks Beastboss. So let's bust this open and have a look. So inside the Orks Beastboss box we have the instruction guide, and we have the sprue, and we have the base. So we'll put this to the side. Like always, we'll go through the instruction manual first. So before assembling your miniature, please read through the instructions in this booklet carefully. A pair of plastic cutters is required to remove the plastic components in this kit from their frame. We advise using a mold line scraping tool to clean up the parts. To assemble your model, you will need plastic glue. So here's the contents, which we saw before. 50mm base. So explanation of symbols: dry fit stage before gluing, paint before assembly, and stage complete. So step 1, we have piece 1 and 2. So basically it's the front of the Beastboss, and we have this nice scaly pelt here. So the yellow part is the indication of where to put the glue. So after you've cleaned up the mold lines and cleaned up the parts, you add this here. So then we jump across here to build his weapon. So this is dry fit stage before, so they're telling you to dry fit here. So basically this little squig that goes on his gun, this targeting squig, is saying to dry fit this first. But then you can see the blue indicates the last step. So the blue is showing what you've just glued on. So you've glued on the squig, so it's showing you here. Then we jump down here, piece 4 and 9. So 9 you could probably leave off if you're interested in sub-assemblies, and you can paint this separately, or you can glue it here where the yellow is, and piece 4 you glue the squig and the gun on top here, just on his shoulder. We jump down here, it says paint before assembly, so I guess they're trying to say that this is a little bit hard to paint once it's on the Beastboss body. They're telling you to do sub-assemblies or paint before assembly, which is good because it's probably hard to get to some of these areas once it's on the body. So we jump down here, and the blue is all the stages we've just completed. Okay, so step 3, this is paint before assembly as well. So piece 11, 5 and 10, we can see they all go together, but again, the yellow parts is where you put the glue. So he basically has this arm, which is 5, and then piece 10 and 11 are the 2 pieces of claw that come together. And here we can see that step's complete, and then you put on this, basically this jaw piece, it looks like. Basically the claw looks like a giant snake head almost, which is really cool, has that snake bite vibe to it. So after you put on piece 12, it's saying to paint this before you stick it to the model as well. So it's saying to paint before assembly again, which is really good that they tell you these days, because it's going to be hard to get to some of these areas with a paintbrush once it's on the body. Now, if you've never done sub-assemblies before, you can use a bit of blue tack, and you can put it onto a paint pot or something like that, and say you could put the arm on here, and you could paint around it, and you can even flip it over once it's dry and paint underneath. Then we have piece 6, which is more of his fur. It looks like a piece of his shoulder as well, so we put this on here. We jump down to step 4. So basically this is another dry fit and paint before assembly part. So that's the dry fit, and that's the symbol for paint before assembly. So piece 7 and piece 9, this is basically this huge sort of tusk that comes off his body. And it looks like a piece of the shoulder, which goes onto the arm from the previous step, the claw arm. So again, just paint this up and then glue it on later. Okay, so then we have step 5. This is another paint before assembly. So basically they're telling you, you know, paint most of this before you put it onto the main body really, which I guess is kind of good, but you know, one little tip, what you can do is get some poster tack or blue tack, whatever you call it in your country. And you can, if you want, you know, put this on the body, just a little bit of this on the body. And then you can put their face on there, so you can kind of see what it looks like. But then if you do need to paint it in sub-assemblies, then you can take it off. And then you can put that blue tack onto a paint pot, or you can put it onto, you know, like a painting handle. It's a bit of an example for you. I'm painting up this lad for the squig buggy, and I don't want to put him into the squig buggy yet. So I've sort of blue tacked him onto this just so I can paint him up. So you sort of do this with the different pieces in this instruction guide. But back to this, step 5, 19, 15 and 16. So it's his hair squeak, it's his face. So some of the hair is attached to the face sculpt, but you put the top knot on. and then you put the front of his jaw on. Be a bit careful with this part because this part looks really small. You don't want to lose it and, you know, have him with no front jaw. That would be a bit disastrous. Yeah, paint before assembly again. And then they're saying paint before you put this jaw on because I guess, you know, it's going to be hard to get to the teeth and some of the sides of his face once this jaw piece is on, which is 17 and 18. And once you put them on, I'd probably suggest as well to paint this jaw piece separately. But yeah, that's up to you, however you want to paint your model. You can build it all and paint it if you really want. You know, if you're an advanced painter or you really care about that stuff, you just want to slap on some pigments to get them on the tabletop. But we jump down here, and obviously the blue, that's the tusk part we had at step 4, and this is step 5, which is his face with his jaw plate. Then we jump down to step 6. So basically this is just putting on another one of those tusks on the other side of him. It's not saying to paint this in sub-assembly, but if you're painting so much in sub-assembly, you may as well really spray this up and paint this piece separately. You know, maybe paint this one up with step 4, which is the other tusk. You know, you can almost have them side by side on a paint pot or on a hobby painting handle or whatever you want to call them, and sort of paint them separately and put them on after. Okay, so we're on step 7, piece 22 and piece 21. Basically, they're more spikes. This dude's full of spikes. He loves his spikes. He just, you know, he just pulls a spike off a beast and just sticks it on his body somewhere, wherever it will fit by the looks of it. But yeah, they're 2 spikes or tusks. And yeah, you can paint them. I'm probably going to paint these all in sub-assemblies. We'll see how we go though. And again, that's up to you. But these go into the back here. You can see these 2 slots here. The base is 50 millimeters. And then the green tick means everything is completed. Finished. Finito. Definitely looks like a beast boss to me. Alright, then we have the Citadel Color Guide. You can see citadelcolor.com/guides. That will take you there to have a look. The full painting guide can be found there. That's what it looks like. Obviously for us mere mortals that aren't, you know, as good as the heavy metal team, we're probably not going to have our paint job look that good, but we'll see, right? You know, lots of details. You have to remember as well, they're painting for box art. We're painting just most of us to get them on the tabletop. So here's some of the rules at the back if you're interested in taking a look. Obviously they're going to be in the codex if you do collect orcs. Yeah, that's the rules. Take a look at the Beast Boss sprue. Look at this big lad. He's staunch. Kind of looks bigger than the War Boss and Mega Armor to me. I guess they say that Beast Snaggers are meant to be bigger orcs, right? But yeah, he's one big lad. So we'll take a look at his body first. Look how beasty he is. I kind of like how his legs and a lot of him are attached to his body, because you will be painting a lot in sub-assemblies. So, you know, the bulk of the model is already there, just waiting for all these other bits to be painted and stuck on. But yeah, you know, spray these your colour of choice, or if you use an airbrush, or if you use a, God forbid, a paint-on primer, you know, prime all these bits, and then obviously paint, as they said, in sub-assemblies, and then start sticking on your pieces. But yeah, what a sculpt. I love all this fur. It's kind of like, it looks like a porcupine sort of fur, like quills almost a little bit. But yeah, you can see this is, I guess, meant to be fur. They've just really, these days, stepped up how they do fur. You know, it used to be kind of like a flat surface with a bit of texture. Now you can see the individual hairs and stuff, which is crazy. So yeah, obviously huge orky body. It looks like he's got some scars, but they look like more scars that are sort of like tribal scarring, where it's like, you know, on purpose they've scarred their body by the look of it, instead of just random scars. Like, it actually looks like a formation. But yeah, lovely belt, lovely details. I like the orc boots. They kind of remind me of the Mario Brothers, you know, the boots that have the sort of like the big front, the sort of big heel, and that side piece. But yeah, we can see all the tusk here, or they might even be an animal's tooth, who knows, like just these beastie parts. Lovely details on the scales here, you know, either from a, I don't know, like a dragon, a squig, who knows what beast he slayed. But that leaves you a lot of options for dry brushing. You know, you can wash and just bring out these details nicely. We'll flip around and have a look at his head. So yeah, there's the head without the jaw. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, obviously people that like to kit bash, you could throw in a jaw piece here, like a War Boss jaw if you wanted. You can do what you want, I guess, with your model. A lot of models I like to get and build as is, but if I really enjoy them or want to use them to convert, I'll get another one and, you know, kit bash and just use bits. But I think I'll grab a second one of these at some stage, because these are just like bits that you could really work with. You know, just the arms and all the different bits you could just kit bash and just use on different projects. Really lovely sculpt, really lovely model. So there's that shoulder pad part. That is really cool. Look at this. It looks like it's bone almost. Yeah, this is kind of like a jaw piece. Speaking of jaw piece, that's a piece of his actual jaw, right? And then we have the other piece here. Here's the hair piece, the hair squig here. Now, I do love my top knots. They are a little bit different. I sort of prefer kind of like the old school top knots, the Chaos old school Ork ones. But yeah, this is a little bit different. It kind of reminds me a little bit more Asian-esque to me. Don't know, just maybe because he's got a hair tie in it, or this hair clip, and just the way it sort of, and just the way it sort of floats in the wind. It kind of has, I don't know, like a bit of a samurai sort of vibe to it. Lovely details though. Look at this. But yeah, really love. Yeah, I really love his, you know, mechanical arm here. Just you can see that it's got a bit of flesh here. Just I'll throw in a few stitches. That will be alright. It'll heal up alright. But yeah, this is just a crazy model. I mean, I know plenty of people have already bought this, already painted it, probably already played plenty of games with it. The Beast Snaggers have been out for a while now. Here's the target and squig. But look how big the actual Ork's arm is. You know, Gazgo is a really big lad, we all know that, but he's climbing up there, getting up to that size. So yeah, this must be the arm that attaches the claw to. So again, it's really nicely sculpted. You could even just, you know, use this arm in a different project, or even just keep that claw off, because the claw sort of attaches to it. You can see these two little prongs or pegs or just little nubs here that it attaches to. But yeah, you could leave it off depending on what you're going to create if you do kit bash. Yeah, we have the gun here that goes in his shoulder. You can see the back pieces here. You know, there's not as much detail here, maybe on some of the parts. Nice straps on his arm. Details on his chopper. Yeah, I love this claw as well. It's basically a bone claw. It's probably bone from a beast, like a huge snake, being sort of snake bite-esque. Sort of like a snake that he's probably slain, and he's added metal parts to it and, you know, stuck on like some worky bits and made it into a claw, which is just nuts. Yeah, I could basically look at this all day. You know, I know what it looks like. I know I've seen the model plenty of times, and, you know, I've had it sitting here ready to review for probably since this came out almost. You know, I've been a bit slack with the reviews, so I'll try and speed these up and get some of these reviews and unboxings out. But yeah, it's never the same looking at a picture online or even looking at the box art. It's always crazy when you bust it open and you see the sculpt in person and you see it before your eyes. You know, it starts getting the creative juices flowing of, oh, what colours am I going to use? How am I going to paint this? You know, whatever. But that's my unboxing for Orks Beastboss. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could please like, please subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. This was G The Hypersapien, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.